I think for a lot of us in our life and our business, what we do here, we got to look at that analogy and look how this type of behavior is very true and consistent in a lot of our lives. All right, so look, I just got back. I got sick of the rain. There's a lot of rain in northern Cal. So I went down to Cabo for a week, and it was a last second decision. So it wasn't inexpensive necessarily, but I knew I wanted to get myself out of the environment that I was in and into a new environment, and it didn't really matter for me at that point what it was going to take. But from that, every experience you guys put yourself in, I think you can find something to relate it back to your business, or find a way to make it maybe some of the lemon into lemonade. So the lemon would have been how much money I spent to get down there and rent out a spot for a week. And the lemonade would be some of the people that I met down there. Some of you guys that follow me on Instagram, you see the post I made today. We happened to be sitting by the pool, and just randomly, we started talking to some two different couples, and had no idea who they were. And they were super cool, and we were like, they turned on some music, and we like music, and so we're listening. And then the security guards come over, or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, you guys got to turn that off." And I was like, dude." And they're like, "It's kind of more of a chill pool, so like whatever." And I was like, I was like, "Hey, why don't we go down to the Mango Deck, which is like an outside, really kind of cracking, but it was a little bit ways down the beach." And they were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So we found our way down there, and we're in there, and I'm trying to get their names again because I kind of forgot their names, whatever. And one of the guys, I said, "Hey, what do you do?" And he said, "I do real estate." I said, "No way." He said, "Yeah, I do 1,000 homes last year." I was like, "You sold 1,000 homes last year?" Like, I know real estate, and that's ridiculous. I'm like, "Dude, that's crazy." And he's like, "Yeah, and I have an online training program." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of town!" Like, and he's like, "I got 40,000 students." So imagine, this group's got 3,600 or 3,700. He's got 40,000 students. So long story short, ends up being an awesome couple, and a great networking, event. So I'm going to write the whole thing off because clearly I was talking business. And they actually invited us out to Vegas next week to come to a little shindig they got. But I guess the moral of that story is like, get yourself, even if sometimes it doesn't feel 100% comfortable, put yourself out there, get into different situations. I can relate this right back to the Vegas event that we have going on in June, of putting yourself out there, even though for me it wasn't necessarily the most comfortable thing to lay out all that cash to go down to Cabo. I just did it. I wanted to do it. I saw it in my mind, and I wanted to go and make it happen. And from it, comes this lemonade of new connections, new possible business partnerships, or who knows what, right? Or at least at the very minimum, new friendships, right? I think the same thing could be true for those of you guys that get out of your comfort zone, even though it might not be the most comfortable thing for you to spend money on right this minute. I think the Vegas event, it's a once-a-year event. You get to network with people that you see in this group. I think the relationships, the friendships, the overall just content that you're going to receive, I think it's worth the price of getting a little bit uncomfortable, getting outside your comfort zone. We already sold out of the Champagne Room. I don't know where the rest of the tickets are. I haven't checked in on them in a couple of days. But I do know that we've sold out every year, and I plan on selling out again this year by hell or high water. So if you haven't already taken the plunge, I think there is a million different reasons for you guys to get your butts out there, get uncomfortable, network with some new people, potentially some new relationships, some new business relationships, and keep this business cranking. Listen, I wrote down something I was listening to. I don't remember. I think it was a guy by the name of Ed Milet, and I was listening to one of the keynote speeches he gave recently, and he made a really good point. I'll probably butcher it a little bit because that's generally what I do. I'm like Tommy Boy, where I'm like, it's got to be your bull, right? You can get a good look at a butcher by putting your head up a bull's ass, right? So basically, the mentality, or the not mentality, but the example that he gave was, look, if you have a thermostat in a room, right? Everyone knows what a thermostat is, hopefully, right? And you set the temperature to 75 degrees, and then you open up your door and it's 32 degrees outside, right? And cold air starts rushing in. right? That automatically the heater is going to kick on and make sure that it regulates the heat back up to 75. And the same thing is true as if you set it 75, you open the door, it's 99 degrees in, hot air comes in, the AC pops on and gets it right back to temperature. I think for a lot of us in our life and our business, what we do here, we got to look at that analogy and look how this type of behavior is very true and consistent in a lot of our lives. Many of us have set a temperature in our lives of, let's just call it 75 degrees. Everything's vanilla, everything's great, it's comfortable, right? And generally what happens is the minute that it drops a little bit, maybe our income drops a little bit, we're able to turn it on to get us at least back to our comfort zone, right? We're, like, hey, I lost a client, right? And I'm going to go find another one to replace it right away. This is very true with myself as well. Like, I recently lost a client. It was worth about $15,000 a month to me. And so I was easily able to, in one day, replace that client and get back to that, that comfort zone of where I was at the previous month. So the problem with this is if we're not constantly raising the heat in our room, in our business, right? When we hit these different levels, we're going to get complacent. We're going to get comfortable. And I think a lot of us need to look at this, because a lot of us, the reason that we haven't got out of our job is because we've set a temperature that we can at least maintain, and at least, even if it's not the most comfortable thing, even if you're not living in a mansion or a penthouse or the sickest house, even if you're living in just a one-bedroom apartment complex or whatever, or a mobile home, it doesn't matter. It's comfortable enough. You get your 3 squares, you get a place to lay your head. It's not freezing cold. You're not out on the streets. So it's comfortable enough that we're able to survive. And so a lot of us, the reason why phone's ringing, the reason why many of us never make it to the next level is we never turn that dial up and raise the bar on that thermostat. Okay. So think about your life. Think about gosh, stop calling me. Dude, do you guys get robocalls nonstop? I want to freaking take my phone and huck it. Anyway, the reason that many of us never get out of the situations that we have put ourselves in, we've kind of designed these situations where, we're able to pay our mortgage or our rent, we're able to pay our car payment, we're able to get the 3 squares, and that's great. And then we look at these other things and we kind of want them, and we kind of make ourselves a little uncomfortable, but we never make ourselves uncomfortable enough where we actually make an actual move, where we kick on the AC or kick on the heat and move it up another notch. And so I want to challenge you guys to